I think this screen gave you enough time to think about. We'll take a few comments on what do you think is the goal of life, especially kids and new people.
It's kind of like the main idea of a story.
Main idea of a story?
Yeah, it's like the main point.
He's defining goal.
A goal. And what is the goal of our life? As he is thinking, anyone else wants to comment?
To be happy.
To be happy. Okay, that's one goal.
I think a lot of people will say goal of life to go to heaven peacefully, but my goal is to live happily. Yeah.
So some people say going to heaven, but others are in your case your goal of life is to be happy.
To make it back to the spiritual world.
To make it back to the spiritual world. So we will give everyone, but specifically more. We'll see. I'm sure there are other comments also. If you have a different thought, goal of life is to be happy, goal of life is to go to heavenly planets, goal of life is to go back to the spiritual world, you said. Anybody else has any other goals of life that you want to share? We won't judge you, don't worry. Okay, everyone falls into one of these three buckets.
Maybe a slightly similar / different version. Chaturvedha Purushartha Sadhana. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Sadhana.
So the goal of life is to do your dharma, to earn a living, artha, to fulfill your desires, kama, and moksha, and ultimately attain liberation. Okay, very nice. Any other comments? Okay, we will give one round of applause. Anyone else?
Have no regrets.
Okay, have no regrets. That's the goal of life. Okay, nice. Anything else? Okay, if it's not your philosophy, any other philosophy you may have heard, others say this is the goal of life. Anything that you heard that you felt, this is interesting. You had a comment?
No, I was just thinking. No, I can comment actually. So I think goal of life might be, it is as perceived by each individual actually. Goal of life might be, depends on what is perceived by each individual, and typically what is, and one side of it is what is told by the spiritual gurus and the spiritual books and the spiritual satsang, like when we are in satsang and what is told to us. But we lead life with respect to what we perceive, what we desire. So it is driven by that, I would say. We might think, okay, goal of life is liberation, spiritual, but it is driven by where we are in the path of our journey. I mean, at what point we are in our journey. So if ultimate goal would be or could be that, but if where am I today in my journey, my goal would be, driven by that or could be around that. So I may not think of achieving moksha or liberation, and sometimes I wonder, people say this, but why don't I feel that is my goal? So maybe one day I will realize, maybe, but today maybe I don't feel that or realize that. So my goal could be different, and maybe as a quote said, any road could take you there. So that has a very deeper meaning. So I would say yes. There are many roads and there are many ways to achieve what is being told by the spiritual gurus, but we can just be honest with ourselves and try to fulfill what comes to our mind, what is our heart says, and be in good satsang, and I think good in a good company, and eventually you will get there. So we may not have clarity, right? I mean, I'm just thinking. It's thinking very loud actually. Thinking too loud.
Thank you. Actually, it's a very nice point to share. thought process you shared actually.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. The few comments you made is, of course, when people say moksha or going to the spiritual world, that seems fantastical. I don't know in how many lifetimes I'll be able to get there. So the other point you mentioned is, I may have other goals in life. And then you also said, there may be multiple paths to that goal also. Okay, very nice. I'm glad you made that comment, because as a student of life, sometimes we'll come across this. We will see there are so many goals thrown around. This is the goal of life. This is the perfection of life. And then some seems very intriguing. Some seems very appealing. And some we are convinced that, yes, this is it. I'm going to spend the rest of my life pursuing this path. You had such aha moments anywhere like that where you felt, yes, this is very good? No? Never felt like that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so anyway, it's a continuation. It's a same question but asked differently. Can you read the question?
I am doing good. I do my duties nicely. What is the need of spiritual life?
So some people ask this question. I mean, why should I even care about the goal of life? I'm doing my duties. I'm following what my elders taught me. So I'm being nice to my neighbors. I don't harm anyone unnecessarily. I speak truth. I have good habits. So what is the need of spiritual life? Anyone wants to answer? If someone, one of your friend or relative asks this, we'll take some comments from this section. Anybody, first of all, do you, either now or in the past, did you ever think of this question? Did you feel, hey, I am doing all right? Maybe show of hands, please. Okay, more hands are coming out as this, yeah, I am not the only one. Everyone is passing the mic backward. Tejas Prabhu is stuck. So.
I can say. So I think this is a very valid question, but what I see around me is that happiness or peacefulness doesn't last forever, and we need to prepare for it, because we see other people suffering, and it's just a matter of time. Like we are going to lose our near and dear ones, right? And it's very difficult to take those kind of incidents, and unless you are spiritually strong, you cannot take those kind of incidents very positively. So that's one of the reasons we should develop our consciousness so that we can take this kind of miseries. It's going to come sooner or later.
Very beautiful. Now we said two things. One is sometimes, I mean, especially young people say this. Hey, I have everything. I'm happy. So why should I care? So they're not even thinking about I'm doing my duties properly. I'm at least going to temple once in a while. They're not even at that level. That is one point Prabhu made. And the other is sometimes, not sometimes, our dear and near ones, we lose them. It happens all the time, especially in a family, in a human society. When we are close to someone, these are bound to happen. And when that happens, how do we handle? It's very, very difficult. Without a philosophical understanding, without the help of spiritual knowledge, it's very, very difficult. Okay, here I'll tell you a story of two friends. You may have heard this story if you attended our sessions before. So once, two friends, they came to a field. One came with a plow type of thing, so he was digging. The other one had another plow. So the one person was digging a small hole and he was moving on. The second person is coming and he is filling that hole with the same mud that the first person dug. And the second person meanwhile was digging the second hole, and then first person is digging a second hole, and then they would continue. So one person is digging, the other person is filling that hole. And then somebody else saw them. And he was wondering and he watched for an hour. One person is digging and the other person is filling it back. Again, this person is digging and the other person is filling it back. He went to him, Arey, I am not able to understand. What are you guys doing? He said, actually we are 3 friends. We decided that we will plant a tree. So, I am the first person. I am supposed to dig a hole. Second friend is sick today. He is the one who is supposed to put a seed. And third person is this guy. He is supposed to fill it up. But the observer asked, but what you are doing is stupid. But both of them said, no. We are doing our duties properly. We are doing our duties perfectly. Moral of the story. Kids will tell us. What did you understand from this story? You can speak up. I don't know where the mic is.
Spirituality like makes sense.
What's that?
What's that?
You need spirituality to like make sense.
Okay.
It's kind of like sense.
Like sense. Okay. Do you want to add anything? Help your brother? So the moral of this story is, even if we do our duties perfectly, if we don't understand the full picture, why am I doing what am I doing? And just continue doing, okay, that person is doing, I'll also do. This person is doing, I'll also do. Why did you study? I don't know. Everybody went to school, we also went to school. Why did you become an engineer? That's the name of the game. India, either doctor or engineers only existed. So, why do we get married? Everybody is getting married. Why did you have kids? Everybody is having kids. Why are you sending children to school? Same thing. So, the unfortunate reality is this. Unless we are shook by some major catastrophe in life, or fortunately if we come across some spiritual teacher who asks you, what is the goal of your life? They're like, I'm actually right now a little busy. So sometimes we find this. People driving their cars very fast. You ask them, where are you going? Like, wait, I don't know where I'm going, but I need to go fast. That situation explains the modern phenomena very clearly. All of us, we are very, very busy. Everybody agrees we are busy? But can you be 100% certain this is the goal of life? I have 100% confidence. Everybody is busy, but is there anybody here who knows for sure? No doubts at all. 100% guaranteed. This I know is the goal of life. Anybody? Right? Very, very people in the higher planets, they might be looking at us. Have you seen ants?
Yeah.
They're busy. They move and they make big lines and they get one sugar and then bring it back to their hole. And so people from heavenly planets or other planetary systems, they'll see us. Morning we wake up, get ready, quick, then go to office, tick, computer, and then come back. They would be wondering, what are these guys doing? They got valuable human life. Without even asking what is the goal of life, they just continue. Okay, but as someone mentioned, I think Chaviji was pointing out earlier, that fortunately God is came for our rescue, comes for our rescue again and again. And He actually gives us what we call as manuals for our life. Okay, I have a life, I have a human life, how should I use it? So please repeat after me. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedavyas wrote all Vedas, Puranas, and in his spiritual maturity, so the highest realization, he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. It is considered to be the Amala Purana, the Purana that's the perfect Purana. So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 8. We entitled it Useless Labor. We will see why. Dharma swanushtita pumsam विश्वक्षेण कदा सूयः नोत्पादयेद्यदिरतिम् श्रम एव हि केवलम् धर्मस्वनुष्ठिता पुंसा विश्वक्षेण कदा सूयः नोत्पादयेद्यदिरतिम् श्रम एव हि केवलम्. Can someone kindly read translation? Okay, Akshay. We'll give it to the switch on.
The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead.
So this verse is very clearly telling what is the goal of doing our duties. I mean, this verse is not saying you're not supposed to do your duties, of course, which is why we have today's session. But this verse is saying dharma swanushtita pumsam, living entities, they should do their own dharma. But if they do their dharma properly, what result should it give? Vishwakshena kathasuyaha. To the message of Krishna, to the message of the Lord, to the message of God, something should happen. Na utpadayed. If it does not give rise to yadiratim, attachment. So, if our duties do not give rise to taste for hearing the message of God and following the message of God, this verse is saying, whatever work we are doing, shrama eva hi kevalam. It is useless labor. So we are working hard, but no result. So the goal of our duty is, the goal of performing our duties is to develop taste for hearing Lord's message and following it. Okay, here is another verse, if you are still not convinced. This is also a very beautiful verse. Nehaya karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirtha pada sevayai jivan api mruto hi saha. Can you read the translation, please?
Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to the religious life, anyone whose ritualistic performances do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing.
Even more stronger. So this verse is saying the goal of work is so that we can actually do some religious, ritualistic performances, like doing puja. So, of course, I used to have, I never really fought with my dad on this, but my dad, he would say, Sunday, these Christians, why do they waste their time going to church? He would say, work is my worship, he would say. That is true, but that's a lower truth. There is a higher truth. So, dharma is higher. But even higher than dharma, when we follow dharma properly, eventually we are supposed to develop renunciation. We are supposed to develop sense control, by which we will eventually be able to give up things. We are no longer attracted by things. We will be able to remain satisfied. So, we are supposed to develop renunciation. But that renunciation, if we just remain there, I'm not attached to by anyone, that's not good enough apparently. It should lead to devotional service. So it should lead to devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Only then, if it doesn't, it's saying, this is like a chain, right? So from karma to dharma, from dharma to renunciation, from renunciation to bhakti. So if it doesn't lead to bhakti, all the steps that we are taking, again, this verse is even more strong. It's saying even though that person is living, it's as good as dead only. Because finally there is no result only. Okay, we will pause here and take few comments and reflections. Anything that you heard so far that is interesting, that you liked, you can raise a hand and then we'll give you the mic to share any reflection that you have.
So, maybe a few years ago, I heard the following. It's like like maybe a handful amongst millions would even get or acknowledges the concept of moksha, and within them, again, handful amongst such people would even try to find a path, and a handful amongst those would actually implement, and a handful amongst them would actually attain moksha. So, so this is a very, very demanding thing, but if we don't do that, we will never get there. So,
Very nice. I mean, in Bhagavad Gita there is a verse, something to this effect. It says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschin Yatati Siddhaye. Out of thousands of men, one attempts for perfection. One wants to go after perfection of life. And among thousands of such people who are trying for perfection, I mean, if we take, Bay Area has millions of people, but only few people are trying to understand Gita. Understand, what is Gita trying to tell? But out of thousands of such people who are trying to understand, this verse says, maybe few people attain the position of the perfection. But then Krishna says, among those who attain perfection, hardly anyone knows me in truth. So it's a very unique and special path, but still. Any other comments anyone wants to share? Today we actually wanted to start with something strong. So something deep for us to think about. Super strong actually. I mean, when I first read this, especially the last line, I was thinking, wow. Last week we were actually hearing about spiritual teacher Guru. Guru actually means heavy. One of the planet Jupiter in Telugu is called Guru Graha. So Guru actually means heavy because it's considered to be the heaviest planet.
Gravity is called
Gurutvakarshana. Yeah. So Guru means sometimes heavy. So even though at least personally for me, it's very austere to do so, but truth be spoken. Another thing is sadhu. Sadhu means someone who cuts the illusions, cuts our attachments, cuts our misconceptions. So sometimes we have to come across verses like this to think really, Okay, kids.
What does renunciation mean?
Okay, we will take help from some adults. Anyone wants to comment on what renunciation means? Someone who hasn't spoken so far, please feel free to share. Prashantji is smiling, so maybe he can help.
Getting rid of all your wantings, like desires, okay, in the life. Don't expect anything in life.
Okay, so renunciation means getting rid of unwanted desires, things that are not helping in our spiritual path especially. Okay, here is the fun part of our session today. So this is the main topic. We will try to cover in the next half an hour or so. So we have horizontal material duties and we have vertical spiritual duties. Horizontal because they give us the stability. But if we just do only horizontal, we remain stuck on this plane only. We will never be, our consciousness will never be elevated. Okay, so we will, whoever has the mic, they can kindly read this.
Scriptures teach us about how one should balance the following duties intelligently. Horizontal duty,
Closer, please.
conditional body related, family, profession, social obligations, etc. Yeah, vertical duty, constitutional, soul related. Soul's duty and occupation towards Lord if one performs only horizontal material duties. One will keep going round and round like a duck without flying up in spiritual life like a swan. On the other hand, if one does only vertical spiritual duties, then one will neglect his family and profession, leading to irresponsible behavior that will cause quarrels, misunderstandings, miseries.
Thank you. So if one only does horizontal material duties, what happens? What do they miss? We don't rise spiritually. And if one only focuses on rising spiritually, what happens? We neglect our family. We actually neglect God-given responsibilities that are actually meant to purify and help us in our spiritual journey actually. So sometimes in the name of renunciation, people just become lazy. It's okay. I develop detachment. It's easy to develop detachment when things are not going well, when it's challenging, difficult. So, okay, here is one example. You may be familiar with Ford Motors. Anybody have heard of Ford cars? Right? I mean, still in America, still there. Why? Oh, they work there. Oh, good. So they can actually. So Alfred Ford, who is the grandson of the main Ford who invented the Ford Motors, Ford cars. Alfred Ford is a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON. So he got attracted to this Krishna conscious movement. He read Bhagavad Gita. He took spiritual initiation from Srila Prabhupada. So he is a perfect example for balancing both material life and spiritual life also. He is the director, one of the directors at Ford Motors. He takes care of his material duties, but he is also a practicing devotee. He wakes up in the morning every day at 4:30. He chants his 16 rounds. Every day he does puja. He does Tulasi Aarti. He goes to temple. He does menial services. Of course, he gives a lot of Lakshmi in donation. Whatever resources he has, a good portion of it he uses for Krishna. That's his vertical duties. But at the same time, he maintains his horizontal duties also. If someone can kindly read this. Okay. We will have more people, new people. Sharad can read.
Become an expert boatman in balancing material and spiritual duties. If one is absorbed in worldly duties alone, he becomes forgetful of his spiritual duties and becomes more and more materialistic, increasing his miseries arising from lust, anger, greed, and similar trouble-giving misgivings. If one is absorbed in his spiritual duties alone, then his family and profession take a backseat, leading to problems. Just as an expert boatman knows how to ride the boat without losing balance, an expert devotee in this world knows how to perform his material duties without forgetting his spiritual duties.
Thank you. So if we just focus only on our material duties, we'll discuss, I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, about 6 enemies that are lurking in our heart. Sometimes we forget, but just like a tiger patiently hiding in the bush, waiting to jump and devour a deer, these 6 enemies can jump on us at any unfortunate moment. So, lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, all these 6 enemies. So if we just are busy, like a busy bee, then at one point we will be attacked by this. So we need the strength of the spiritual practice to slowly and gradually develop the strength to control. Here is another story. Once I remember one of my friends was sharing this. He was traveling on a train. So he wanted to get chickies, some sweets on the railway platform. So the train stopped, so he got down. He asked, "Can you give me some chickies?" So he said, "You want this chikki, almond ones or sugar ones?" Or so he was looking, how much is this? Which brand is this? And he was bargaining with that guy. And then eventually he decided, okay, I'll buy this. And as he turned around, the train already started leaving. And he ran behind it, but couldn't catch the train. So, as I was remembering that story, I was thinking, many a times we are also so busy in our material duties sometimes. The spiritual train, whatever spiritual train Krishna may send our way, leaves the platform. And then we are stuck there, hoping another train will come. Hopefully it will also take us to the same destination. So, a smart move, of course, similarly people become absorbed in money making, fulfilling their desires. The 4 we discussed about this, animals and humans also do this. Sleeping, eating, defending and mating, reproducing. So people are busy in this that they get carried away without knowing the time. Of course, the smart move would be whoever is, if let's say we are buying the chickies on the platform, it's a smart move would be to keep an eye on the train also. Okay, I need this to survive, but at the same time I keep an eye on the train. So similarly, in our own material duties, we keep an eye on our spiritual duties also to ensure that they are not slipping off. Here is another verse. This is a very simple, beautiful verse. I'll just recite. Yuktahara viharasya Yukta chetasya karmasu Yukta swapnava bodhasya Yogo bhavati dukkha. Can someone read translation? Someone new? Lataji, your son can read. You can read. Switch on if it's off.
He who is on is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work, can mitigate all material pain by practicing the yoga system.
So just by balancing these 4 activities, eating, not too much, not too little, sleeping, again, too much sleep, we become lazy. Too less sleep, we become crazy. So we should balance that. Recreation, even enjoyment. This body, mind needs certain amount of enjoyment, preferably in sattvic enjoyment. I mean, we'll probably talk a lot more about that in another session. And then work also. Work also should be regulated. So one who does that, he'll have a happy life. That's all this verse is saying. If you remember 3 modes of material nature, very quick refresher. I'm not going to go detail here. Sattvic people, they are happy. Rajasic people, they are restless. They are very passionate. continuously running after this thing. Once, as soon as this is done, another thing. They're just restless, checking off one thing after the other. We'll see. And the third is tamas. These type of people, they feel helpless, hopeless. Bhagavad Gita says all of us go through these three modes at different times of the day, different situations. We feel very happy for no reason. We feel restless, just running after things, doing things. Why do you do what you do? I don't know. I have to do. Sometimes wife says, can you please bring that from somewhere else? I'm like, oh, don't ask me anything now. I am sitting in my sofa. I can't even lift this hand also. So Satvik is balanced. Satvik doesn't mean we don't do anything. Satvik actually means balanced. Spiritual people have balanced lifestyle. They do both spiritual and material. Rajasic people or passionate people, they are over-exertive. Meaning, exertion is important. Some attention and some force is needed to get work done. But over-exertion. They are drained of their mental, intellectual, physical energies, that they have no time, no energy left for any spiritual activity. And tamas people inactive, both spiritual and material also. So here is the what? Goodness people, happy and balanced, active and productive. Passionate people, restless, over-exertive, active but not productive. This is where I think most Kali Yuga people fall under. We are working on computer, morning till evening. In the evening you take a stock of what did I achieve today? I wanted to do that, I wanted to do this. Anybody has this experience? Even Akshay is also raising hand. And ignorance, helpless, inactive, neither active nor productive. So, to have a balanced life, here is another thought for you to consider. We spoke about mind, how the mind can never be satisfied. Bhagavad Gita clearly again and again it says, if you are trying to satisfy the mind, that's it. It's like a black hole. How much ever you pour, 2 hours of Netflix, it says more. 2 more hours, 1 more movie. Facebook, infinite scrolling. It wants more and more, and at the end it scolds you back. You useless fool. You wasted 4 hours of time while you are supposed to finish this deadline which is due tomorrow. So mind it only pulls us in the wrong direction and later it scolds us also. So the only way to control the mind, it is said, is simple living. So we should do some austerities. It's counterintuitive actually. The only way to gain control over the mind is to do voluntary austerities, like waking up in the morning. Doing exercises is another way, for example. Fasting on Ekadashis, or whenever there is some spiritual special day, if you fast from food, you will realize slowly over time you can visibly see that the mind is becoming somewhat more patient, more controlled. So simple living and high thinking. Now modern time is simply living, hardly thinking. I don't know. Usually we're supposed to have some time for ourselves to think. Okay, I made these goals. Where am I with my goals? Am I making any advancement? Or is it the same story every year? And people eventually make no resolutions. The New Year resolution is no more resolutions. Here is another thought. If God is going to be your best friend, you have got to give your best time to Him. Can anyone say, what is the best time? Where do you feel the best version of yourself? Any? Early morning?
When I meet my friends.
Meeting friends. Akshay.
Evening.
Evening is his best time. Anyone else?
Free time.
Whenever he is free, that is his best time.
Sleep time.
Sleep time.
Getting a good grade.
Getting a good grade is the best time. Okay. Anything else?
When you are able to fully focus on something, that is your best time.
So when you're in the zone, so good. We will give a round of applause for all the comments. All these are right, and depending on wherever we may be. I also used to be like a night owl. They say, right? Night owl. Evening. Srinivas Gar, I don't know if he's here. He says after the program, usually at around 10 o'clock, they are ready to leave, and I tell him, please drive safe. His response would be, don't worry, Prabhu, this is the prime time for me. I am most active now only. But, as some of you mentioned, the best time for spirituality especially is morning. That is where naturally the mind, the environment is in sattvic mode. So that's the time we are supposed to chalk out a piece of our time and give for Krishna. If God needs to become your friend, you need to make an investment actually. And it's mentioned Brahma Muhurta begins 96 minutes before sunrise. So most spiritualists, that's the time they target. We're supposed to do all our spiritual practice before the rest of the world wakes up. 96 minutes before sunrise. That's usually around maybe 4 o'clock or 4:30. So that's the ideal. Of course, we will not be able to go there. Usually most people, 4:30, that I can do. I can chant and then sleep. Some people sleep so late. So we are supposed to give a solid amount of our time for our spiritual journey. So it is recommended actually, maybe every day if we can set aside 2 to 3 hours before you say, 2 hours? I am not able to give 2 minutes only. Here is a story for people like us. There is once, whoever is falling asleep, you can wake up, story is coming. Once one person, he was given the task of cutting a big tree. So he took the saw and he started cutting the tree. You may have heard this story, but please act with me as if you are in suspense. So as he started cutting the tree, he wasn't able to make much progress. So a standby viewer, he looked, said, "Arey, you're cutting from last half an hour, you're not making any progress only. Why don't you sharpen the saw?" The cutter, he laughed at this guy. You think I'm fool? The goal is to cut the tree, not to sharpen the saw. Please do your business. And he continued cutting. But if on the other hand, let's imagine he was submissive enough, intelligent enough to sharpen the saw, what would happen?
He would have finished faster.
He would have finished faster. Any other comments? Faster?
He would have made progress, because in the current story he didn't make any progress.
He didn't make any progress in the current story, but he would have made some progress.
Effort?
Sharad?
Less effort?
Less effort also. Very nice.
Smarter.
That would have been the smart way to finish his work.
And it would actually make some progress. Like, no, it would like, you would actually finish it.
Finish, make progress.
Much time consuming.
Less time also, right? Very beautiful. So many beautiful points. We'll give a round of applause. So similarly, in our spiritual life also, when we put a substantial amount in refining our goal of life, in sharpening our intelligence by regularly reading Bhagavad Gita, by developing sense control, by controlling lust, anger, greed, by developing satisfaction through chanting. Right? I mean, if you are completely satisfied, whether your husband or wife greets you, smiles at you, your boss demands more of you, your child annoys you, you won't be bothered as much. You agree?
Yes.
So some of the points that were mentioned is you would finish cutting the tree faster. So similarly, even though let's say you take 2 hours of your 24 hours, here is spiritual mathematics. Kids will help me. How much is 24 minus 2?
22.
Wrong.
What?
Huh?
21? What?
24 minus 2 is 30.
Oh, that's just not smart. What?
So when we spend 2 hours for our spiritual progress, what you will notice is anyone who practice little bit of spiritual practices, they will vouch for this. What you will notice is you become more productive, more clear in your thoughts, more happy. And not only that, everybody around you also becomes more happy. You get things done faster. You become more smarter. So what is a better way to lead life? A unsharpened saw and working hard? Or is it better to sharpen the saw and have a jolly, smooth ride? First option, second option. Please shout out loudly. First or second?
Second.
Second. Okay, we'll take all of your names. Because... Okay, here is another thought. But before, quiz question for A, B, C, D, E. What does A stand for? B stands for? C stands for? D?
Diet.
Diet, and also deity worship. So we're supposed to, whatever we cook. By the way, today I'm giving you $1 million leak information. Today is Italian menu. Kids, today there is homemade Sattvic pizza. We have special soup also, made with love by Chaviji. We have pasta made by multiple cooks. I know Monica Mataji is there. I don't know who else. I look very early only. So many items. I remember Swati Mataji. I don't see her. Maybe she's still making. She's making. Just by looking, you will feel satisfied. Some very special item, by the way. We cook all this for the pleasure of the deities, for the pleasure of Krishna. So whenever we cook, we make it as an offering to the deities. So there is one Mataji in Vrindavan. So anytime any guests visit her, she says, "What would you like me to make for our Jagannath today? What would you like me to make for our deities?" This is a Krishna conscious way of asking, what would you like to eat? So the goal is to please Krishna. But you please decide. I will make it. I am the servant, I will make it, but you please tell me. So this is the Krishna conscious way of thinking. I am not the enjoyer. Why am I cooking food? Is for Krishna's pleasure. So whatever activities we do in life, this is the consciousness we are trying to develop. Of course, we are not there. Many times we see a gulab jamun, first thought that comes in our mind is how many can I get? Very nice, nicely roasted, tasty gulab jamun. Of course, we don't think of Krishna, but that's okay. By practice, we will eventually get. Remember, we all learned cycling. This, when it comes, right leg comes up, left leg is supposed to go back. And we went through this mental exercise. Remember typing? Like this. In the beginning, it's not so automatic. You would have to look like this, like this. Only eventually with practice it will. So, but we need to practice. It doesn't come. Some people say, whenever it comes, then it will come. No, Baba, it'll never come. So you'll never develop that level. So only by practice, you will get to that level where spontaneously you are attracted to God. If you are thinking, whenever I develop spontaneous attraction to Krishna, then I will come to God. That will never happen. Okay, so here are some thoughts for you. ABCD. So we are supposed to have regular association like this, not just this, but association within your family also. Come together as a family with spirituality as focus. B as Bhagavad Gita reading. Read regularly, every day if possible. C for chanting. Have a regular practice of chanting every day. D is have either a picture of Krishna or a murti of Krishna and do some worship, some song. Give even 2 minutes. Okay, my whole life is around this. And E is for engaging in service. So we should do it daily and it should be regulated. The goal with regulated is such that you will feel one day you will feel inspired. Yes, I heard this in yesterday's class, I should start, I should do it. Day after tomorrow, busy office work. Oh, sorry Krishna, I'll do it day after tomorrow. Both, huh? I will do 2 rounds of chanting, I will do 2 agarbattis, 2. No, not like that. It should be regulated. Whether you are busy, not busy, it should be regulated. And engage family also. It is mentioned, a family that prays together, stays together. A family that dances together, advances together. A family that sings together, clings together. So they held on to the spiritual practices. And finally, the family that dines together, shines together in their spiritual life. So we want to be one such family, a shining example for the rest of the world to follow. Okay, here is another example. Okay, so you give 2 hours of your time, you spend so much of your energy. Many times it's so difficult to wake up in the morning, difficult to say no to work, difficult to bring kids, bring the family, patiently handle them, lovingly encourage them. Very, very difficult. So how can I do this? Don't worry. Krishna says, God helps those who help themselves. So we are not alone in this journey. It's not that, oh, I have to do all this all by myself. No. Actually, you get plenty of help. Krishna is so eager that he is eagerly waiting for us to take a step towards him. As soon as we take 1 step towards God, God is willing to take 10 steps towards us. He is willing to arrange our entire life in such a way that we can become more Krishna conscious, more God conscious. But first step, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. So first you have to surrender to me. You have to come to me. Draupadi also, she had to call out to Krishna. Krishna, hey Govinda, hey Gopal, please come and save me. Then only Krishna came. I mean, before that also he knew but still, he demands that surrender. And that through that surrender, we actually show, I am actually serious. I need your help, please. I want to become a better version of myself. I want to conquer the enemies of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, jealousy. I want to bring my entire family also close to you. So please kindly help me. And God does help. I won't go into the detail of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When we talk about balancing horizontal material duties and vertical spiritual duties, he is a wonderful example. He is the spiritual master of the spiritual master of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, spiritual master, and his spiritual master is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was on this planet Earth during the regime of British ruling, and at the age of 4 he read Ramayana and Mahabharata. He got married. He had 13 children. At the age of 29 he got a job in, maybe even before that, in the British Empire. He rose through the ranks very quickly, and I think ultimately he became the district magistrate, the highest position an Indian could occupy during British time. So he rose to the highest. He was the temple president of Jagannath Puri temple. He was so expert at management that once he decided, I don't have sufficient time for my spiritual practice. I want to take early retirement. British government said, no. You please tell us. And he said, no, for me to come from here to Kolkata takes 2 hours, maybe 4 hours. And to do my duties and come back again in the evening, it's very tiring. So British government, just for him, they laid a railway track from Kolkata to in front of his house. Can you believe that? He was so productive, so popular, powerful, influential. He wrote 100 books on Krishna consciousness. Of course, so much more can be said about him. He was raising 13 children. All of them are Krishna conscious. He had one of the best, most difficult material duties. I mean, we managers sometimes here we say, oh God, so many Jiras, so many engineers to manage. Oh God, so many PPTs, Excel sheets to report. We feel overwhelmed. So many releases to make. We can imagine how much more stress it must be. But still. And here is one final thought that I'll leave you with. Knowledge minus practice is equal to no realization. So if we only accumulate knowledge without any sort of practice, we will have no realization whatsoever. If we want our heart, so usually in the association of devotees, it is mentioned 3 things will happen. One is spiritual discussion, like this. Spiritual discussion. The second is knowledge transfer. Transfer of knowledge. The third is heart transformation. So if we attentively hear and participate in the spiritual discussion, knowledge transfer happens. But if we put that knowledge into practice, only then heart transformation will happen. Otherwise, that knowledge will only result in we becoming proud. I remember one person once came to Bombay temple. He heard the entire class, and at the end, the speaker asked any questions, and he raised his hand. He's an old person, so they gave. He's coming for the first time to temple. He took the mic. He said, I know the verse that you quoted today. Yeah, the speaker said, wonderful, very good job. He said, not just that. I know all the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Speaker said, amazing. And the person said, not only that, I know all the verses backward to forward also. Speaker was beginning to sense, said, good. And then the final comment came. He said, but not even Krishna might know the way I know these shlokas. So knowledge without practice, what it does is, it only becomes, Bhagavatam says, it is a decoration on the dead body. So if we don't have practice, it's actually better we have only little knowledge and little practice than a lot of knowledge, no practice. So with that final thought, I request Mohit Prabhu, you wanted to make an announcement about. You can probably come here.
Hare Krishna. So we have everyday morning reading and chanting calls for Mataji's and Prabhuji's separate. I think Mataji's call is from 6:30 to 7:15 and Prabhuji's call is from 6:45 to 7:25, 7:30. So this is very, very good call. I think a lot of people here are already attending and I would request everybody else to take advantage of this opportunity, try to attend that call. And it is really good. I think, we can also share some reflections and some experience for people who are already attending. Maybe next week probably we can do that because they may. Or somebody wants to share now, Prashant.
Anyone attending, you feel, yes, actually
Yes.
this one.
I'll say. So basically, it's a good way to start your day. That's what I would say. It's a very good way to start
Only whatever
your day.
you speak in the mic counts.
It counts.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, that's so it's a very good start for the day. You begin your day by chanting. So the chanting is done, and then we do read a paragraph or verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So, it's just good start to a good day. Feel blessed.
Very nice.
Anyone else? Any other reflections?
Yeah, for me, it helps, in day-to-day life. In handling situation, earlier, the way I used to react to the situations, this everyday practicing, it helped me what are the ultimate important things in the life. So that really says, so that situation is very simple, maybe it's not relevant, it's constantly reminding me, right? Okay, by practicing day to day. Otherwise, you might get lost of, even though theoretically, right? If you really wanted to, yeah, exactly, right? It is really going to help you. It all trickles down to what is the most important thing in your life. If you really know, then the way we look at things, how we react to the situations, everything will be changed. So unless you practice, absolutely your life will be as it is.
Yes. Only there will be one additional thing is, because when you come here, you hear a philosophy that you don't practice. So there is a lot of stress, turmoil in the heart. It's even more difficult. And eventually, it's just a matter of time where you say, oh God, I'm not able to. Better I stop going to classes only. And then, it happens actually. It happens. We have seen so many such instances. With little bit of practice, just little bit of practice, what you realize is, the whole thing becomes blissful. You will enjoy the experience of coming here. It's very easy to make changes in your lifestyle. If you have the diet, for example, I encourage, beg, request all of you to become Sattvic vegetarian diets if possible, as soon as possible. It's not good for our health. We have one entire presentation and how meat eating is the most dangerous thing we can do to our body, our mind, and certainly to our soul. So we kindly request all of you to begin somewhere, however small it may be. Krishna, he would be very, very grateful, however small it may be. Don't worry. All great things come in small increments only. So, and then I also want to thank Mohit Prabhu. He took over the communication aspect. He also kindly agreed to. Usually, all of us, even in my spiritual journey, all of us need little nudging. Hare Krishna, how are you doing? Hey, we missed you last week. So trust me, even after all these years, everybody needs this. The default mode in the material world is the opposite to God consciousness. So all of us need that. So Mohit Prabhu kindly agreed to follow up with people, encourage people also. So you may see some messages from him. So let us be grateful and express our gratitude. Okay. I don't hear any complaints from. We'll take 3 reflections from the whole session. By the way, end of the session has come. So, anyone wants to share any reflections? We'll take this.
Yeah, so I will just add to the previous, like about chanting and all. Right? I think one is practice, but what I have seen is that when we practice in association, we get the double benefits. So we do A and C together. We are in association and we're doing chanting together, reading together. One that we regularly do it, right? And then also when we do it together, it's much more beneficial than doing by our own.
And I do see some new people. By the way, you chose an interesting day to join. Of course, this is one of the, as a speaker, it's more unpleasant for me, but this truth be spoken. So these are some of the things that it's very difficult to make changes in our life. It's easier to give a jovial class, but difficult to give a more heavy class like this. But these are very, very essential. You'll thank yourself later. So if this is your first session, don't worry. Krishna consciousness is not a difficult path. It's actually a joyful, the most joyful path. If it is done properly, like we were discussing the example of cutting the tree. So when it is done properly, it's the most blissful path, the best gift you can give yourself. So with this, we will conclude and we will invite the kids to come and we will do their favorite bhajan. I shouldn't say their favorite. Actually, Rangaji was mentioning, I don't know where he is. He was here earlier. He was saying in the night, in his dreams also, this song, Krishna Jinka, was coming, it seems. So, I request all the kids to come in the front. We will start the kirtan. Sumit Prabhu. Shriyan. Wherever Shriyan is, we request him to come. This is the final call for the passengers traveling on Krishna Jinka. Yes? We have instruments for all the kids, so please take. Adults are also welcome to take. Akshay. Can you help carry the mic? You be the director for the mic. You take the mic, go to each person. Segura atenção, Again, for new people, I have to give this warning every week. Towards the end, you will all go crazy. Don't worry about it. It's quite normal. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। We'll do one simple Mahaprasada prayer and then we'll hand over the mic to please next one. Kindly repeat. Mahaprasade Govinde Ramo Brahmane Vaishnave Valpa Punyavatandraja Vishwasudaiva Jayate Srimad Bhagavat Mahaprasadam ki jai. We welcome Arna.
Today's menu was cooked by stuffed mini sweet pepper by Swati Mataji, Italian soup by Chavi Mataji, fresh Sattvic homemade pizza by Shama and Sham Prabhuji, pasta by Monica and Mayuri Mataji, Italian tiramisu cake by Shama Mataji, Hayagriva sweet by Rukmini Mataji. Let's do a quick Hari Bol for all of these devotees. Any birthday or special days recently?
Today, 3rd March. My brother started
You can pray for their spiritual growth. Good to get blessings from you. Very nice. Any other birthdays? Any special days?
It's Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Dr. Seuss's birthday. We will pray for his spiritual upliftment.
Let's do Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
For WhatsApp communication, we had Mohit Prabhuji, driving Ravindra Prabhuji, YouTube live streaming Satya, arrangements and after cleanup Ramesh Prabhuji, Satya, Srinivas Prabhuji, Ravindra Prabhuji, Sumit Prabhuji, Murthy Prabhuji, and many others who are helping with kitchen cleanup. Notes from class, Srinivas Prabhuji. Let's do Hari Bol.
I want to mention a disclaimer. When people heard me with cooking, I only helped, so you can have all the faith. Of course, I didn't know pizzas will take this long. Shamukumari started I think 10 a.m. I got involved around 12 o'clock. I was supposed to prepare for this class. So till 3:30, we were in the kitchen only. Even Gopal and Shriyan, they cut the olives with love. So we were actually thinking, this is one of the good ways we can actually engage as a family together. Of course, because when kids see parents putting so much effort, one thing, even without speaking, that we communicate to them is serving is very important. Not enjoying, but serving is more important. That is one thing we communicate. But of course, together, we had a lot of fun. We were I was asking Shriyan for some Hare Krishna tunes. He said, I am cutting for last 3 hours, he said. He was cutting for 30 minutes or so, but it felt like 3 hours. Then I said, okay, let's do some Kirtan. Can you teach me some new tunes? So like that. So this is one way as a whole family we can be engaged. I mean, I'm sure you are all very intelligent. You will come up with innovative ways to come together and do some spiritual activity. So I just thought I'll highlight that as one of the examples. Hare Krishna. Prasadam as usual will be served in the garage. So please kindly take and come back. We need a lot of help after the prasadam for cleanup. So please kindly. Hare Krishna. How are you? I am very more happy to see both of you. You missed the Kirtan part of it. I was watching the live stream. Oh, is it? Is the live stream still going on? Yes, please.
So today from morning 8 till 5:30 they were